Hey guys, what's up? It's ScherBR talking. Welcome back to my channel. Today video we'll be talking about the 200-day special pickup summon. We have SS Gustave the Battle of Buckethill, SS Labelle Anima of the Woods, and versions of Johan and Flame. It's important to talk about this version of Gustave since he was a little hyped by the community. People wanted to summon for him before global exclusive Katarina was a thing. Then the developers released global exclusive Katarina being very similar to this version of Gustave. So now people think if it's worth or not to summon for him, if they do have her or do not have her, if they have Jen or if they have, you know, Alan as slash damage dealers. There's a lot of competition for the slash types. But Gustave, it was still considered a very solid character even on Japan. So the longevity of this character needs to be discussed alongside the buffs that developers made to him. So I will be clicking here on summon details so we can check some stuff. And well, let's click here on style so we can go straight to the information. On the left side of the image you will see some of the status values for him, because we will be opening global exclusive Katarina to make a direct comparison. The buff to his status was more about endurance. He now has more endurance, 15% more endurance, but we'll get there. First, let's click on trial, and well, the first skill is Mash. It's still a solid attack to be used. It's 4 BP when I'm fully awakened. The second skill is called Double Flowing Slash, and this was changed for global. Before the changes, Gustave only had a single normal Flowing Slash. That's a very common attack that a lot of other characters has. And you have Gray, you have Katarina that has this. I believe the older version of Gustave already had the normal Flowing Slash. And it's an interesting attack that was used more on launch, where we didn't have many other debuffers. The problem is that Great Sword users don't have high intelligence, and intelligence is what governs your chances of debuffing the STR of your enemy. The skill by itself is an amazing skill. I don't know if there's a skill like that in Japanese version of the game. So the skill is amazing, but Gustave has some problem using it. If you don't know about the lore of SaGa Frontier 2, Gustave is a character that don't have anima, so he cannot use spells, and that's the reason why here in this game he also doesn't have much intelligence. You can see here on the image, when fully maxed, he will only have 19% increase in intelligence, and this affects how Double Flowing Slash works. But on the same time, it will depend on your enemy. If you are facing an enemy that only uses physical attacks and do not use spells, it usually doesn't have a very high will. But if your enemy has a very high will, you will find some problems to use Double Flowing Slash. It also requires you to fully awaken this Gustave in order to reach this 19% increase. Without it, it's still even harder to get this to proc. But if you get this to proc, man, you are kinda having two characters into one. And because this can be awakened to 8 BP, you can use it on turn 1 and on turn 3. So that allows you to reduce the STR for an enemy to very, very high levels. 2 times an STR debuff means that you'll be getting the total of 30% decrease, because Flowing Slash decreases 15%, 2 times it's 30% decrease. Remember that the buff lasts for 4 turns, and every new turn he loses 25% of the value. But because Gustave can reapply this on turn 3, you still have a very nice option to decrease the STR and damage from your boss. Because it's only useful for bosses. You will not be using this on auto for farming unless you're starting the game, so I don't think this will be used all the time. But it's still a very impressive skill. There are some things that you can do to make your Gustave better on inflicting Double Flowing Slash. The first is Narwhal's Daughter. Narwhal's Daughter increases the status of every character in the squad, even intelligence for Great Sword users or any type of physical damage dealer. That allows Gustave to reach a little more intelligence that will help him affect enemies that have very high will. So, if you have Narwhal's Daughter, you already increased the chances and value of this Gustave, but still not a perfect for, you know, enemies that have very high will. In the future, you'll also be getting the Matriarch, and she can also increase the intelligence. So if you use him with her for boss challenges, she will be a staple in most squads that has the opportunity to summon for her. You can also use this Gustave in the backlines of a magical shower formation, allowing him to get even more intelligence, decreasing his output damage, or even can use the Rainbow Rangers formation and get him in the intelligence slot. That is also an interesting thing. You know, you'll be losing the potential damage by increasing his STR even further, but sometimes staying alive is better than just dealing damage. I believe this is awesome. But Gustave is not just about this, he also has Double Crush. This attack is the same that we saw with global exclusive Katarina. It's 2 attacks that can land on random enemies, especially better when you only have one target, so you always use on the same target, just like we were talking about Double Flowing Slash. And the reason why it's so awesome is just that it has an 8 power and uses 13 BP, so it can be reduced to 10. It is just like using 2 skills of 8 power right after another. And 8 power is like the best you can find right now in the game for a skill from slot number 2. And what he does is just doing it better, more damage, and lower cost of BP. He's not exactly as Katarina that can use Double Crush again, since she uses Glacial Sword that only uses 2 BP. In Gustave's case, he will try to use Smash, but he will not even use it on turn 2 because, you know, you cannot get enough to use Smash. So there is a problem with the auto of this Gustave here, but you can still try to use some inheritance to fix this problem. So Double Crush, it was the reason why people would summon for him, because it is still a very powerful attack. But in this case, Gustave can also inherit pass the skill on through another version of him. I'll be opening the Now Roma SaGa website to explain this better. And now we are here on Now Roma SaGa website, where we have the 5 different styles of Gustave that has been released up to this point on Japan. And the next style is the Ultra Deluxe, we'll be talking about this one as well. But let's just give a look here on very important stuff. The first is that now Gustave has the highest endurance on 84% out of all Gustaves, even the first one that was considered a very good character to be using on front lines. Now he's even better on doing this, has even higher endurance. So if you are using the Dragoon Strike formation, he works pretty fine on the front line if you are ignoring his intelligence. And now if you look on the original style of SS Gustave, it has 36% increase in intelligence. That's higher than our new version of Gustave. If you are really desperate, you can even change to this version, the original Platinum style, and get it to level 50 maybe. It's farmable right now on Robin Cup if you are so desperate to get it to level 50. You will be able to see the highest intelligence of all Gustaves with this style here, and it may give you more chances of inflicting the Double Following Slash. If you also summon for this future style of Gustave, the Ultra Deluxe one, it has a little higher intelligence, but not so much. It's still much of a problem depending on the enemies that you'll be facing. Now when talk about inheritance, Gustave will start with Double Crush, and he needs a new skill to keep cycling, and one of the best decisions is to go with the Bull Crush. It uses 6 BP once fully awakened. So I guess this covers this part of the skills. I want to show you the passives that this guy has. He has Draining Attack 3, so 25% chances of recovering HP. Very nice indeed, because he's one of the characters that will stay on the front lines. If you are using Dragoon Strike, he will be receiving more damage than your other attackers, so he can recover this as well. Fire 4 gives 15% increase on damage, and Harrying to Fight increases his STR by 25%, but it is not a guarantee. There is a problem with this. It's not just like some characters that can get this. And lastly, we have Raring to Fight. You get 25% chance of getting a 20% buff to STR. It helps when it works, but it's not reliable. A good thing when you are on long fights, since you'll probably be triggering more often than just for farming. Now I just opened my Escort Mission Uniform Katarina so we can check the both characters. I will be talking about the style modifiers. She's not level 50, so it's not exactly final values, but you can already see the difference between the characters. Katarina has more STR, reaching 93% in her final level. A little more damage, a little more base damage actually. Gustave still has his passive that can increase STR, becoming way stronger than Katarina for Double Crush, but Katarina can increase the squad damage for slash damage If we're bringing 4 slash damage dealers, this allows her to outclass Gustave's damage. That's a little different, but I believe they are just comparable. She has lower endurance, so she's better on the middle line of Dragon Strike formation, while Gustave has very high endurance. He can be placed on the front lines, where he will be taking a hit. He also recovers HP, while Katarina cannot do this. She recovers BP instead, so it's a very nice situation where you can use both together. Well, not everyone will have access to both characters. Also, Gustave has average agility with 67%, while Katarina can reach 75. That's pretty high. She also has more intelligence. She can also use Following Slash, not a double Following Slash, but, well, you can still use both characters as the buffers. They still work fine. Her wheel is way higher since she is better used on the middle or back lines. She will be attacked by spells more often, and while Gustave has a way lower will. Sha and Love doesn't really make sense with these characters. The last thing I didn't mention is the dexterity between the two are very similar as well. What makes Katarina better is that she has 3 different elemental attacks. She has Slash, she has Cold, and she has Blunt. For grinding and farming stages, you notice after some time that Cold is super important. There's way too many enemies that are weak to Cold. And she can also do blunt damage with downswing. It's a very good attack with 8 BP cost and S power. But she's not good for cycling in this skill. You will only be using this on manual. Maybe for challenges where you cannot bring a full blunt squad because you don't have, she can be a replacement. And, well, this is a pretty cool thing. And I believe that as this Katarina has the buff that affects the whole squad. She increases 10% of the slash damage with a 25% of triggering. You have a 50% uptime on this. It's a very cool feature. She also has further 4, the same thing as Gustave, and she recovers BP instead of HP. The highest difference is that if Gustave gets his STR buff, he would outperform Katarina, but if Katarina gets her squad buff, she would just help the squad increase damage, outperforming the turn damage that you had by using Gustave. But like I said, why not both? The bad thing is just that some people will not have the gems to just summon for all characters, so they have to make a decision. If they do have Gen is not exactly as Gustave, you cannot compare both. But he can replace Gustave for some time. Since Gustave is not limited, he's platinum, you can wait to get him. Gen was a very nice thing that they gave us on the half anniversary. Well, you have to select him, but I believe most people selected him. And also, if you have Ellen, especially if you have the 2 Ellens, like the Specs Heavy Ellen and the other before the Abyss Gate Ellen, you already have very strong slash damage dealers. You only need at least 2 strong damage dealers for slash damage, and if you have either Gen, the Ellens, or the Gustave or Global Exclusive Katarina, doesn't really matter, any of them will work. With the difference that Gustave is actually debuffer, a very good debuffer now because of the global change. Also, probably the highest endurance between all of them. So Gustave is a character that can work in farming because of double crush. He can work in challenges because of double Following Slash. He can still provide damage, but with cycling by use of Bull Crush. And he becomes a very strong character that it's worth investing. And so in my opinion, this Gustave deserves a 9.5 out of 10, or a double S grade, if I must say. He keeps being useful for a lot of time. It's also the base for the Ultra Deluxe style to work better. And just that people can skip him, even if he's a very strong damage dealer. So next character is Labelle. And we talked about Labelle in the past video, but I'll be explaining a little better how this girl works. We just got a first version of Labelle in Christmas, but this one was actually released before the past one. So let's just check the attacks. She starts with Rapid Volley, and she's one of the masters of Rapid Volley. It's just like Cordelia that can attack 3 times with AoE pierce damage, she can do the same. While not as strong as Christmas Cordelia, she can still be worth in using Rapid Volley for farming. That is because the second attack is Song of Earth, and Song of Earth is supportive, totally supportive. It's just trying to inflict confusion on targets. She has a very high intelligence, so she can actually land this confusion, and it has medium chance. So for people that don't have Fuse or to have the Professor, they can have someone to inflict confusion. There's also Ray, but Ray only uses it on single target. And I also don't need you to use Wind Bolt to increase the chances of inflicting confusion. You can still go for full damage, and when you decide to inflict confusion, you will be able to. Now we go for Crystal Prism. It's her final attack, a very powerful attack actually. This one is also from SaGa from Tier 2. And starts with 13, can be reduced to 10, so it's an opener. It deals very high damage, guys. It's more than the normal Beer Crush attacks that uses 12 BP. It uses one more, so it has more damage, and also carries something very interesting. It inflicts unconsciousnesses. It kills the target that is not immune to it, and she will be able to kill a lot of targets since her intelligence is not that bad. I don't know if she gets the upper hand against Claudia, but she's the best next close thing to it. With Crystal Prism, you'll be able to find some strategies for farming where the first enemy is not immune to that, and you can use the Rainbow Rangers formation in the slot that increases agility so that she starts always with this attack, allowing you to, well, save time in some farming, especially if the first enemy has very, very high HP. Let's just give a look now on her style details and clicking on abilities. She has Enervate 3 for 2 different things, and that is a little of a clash. She do not have any passive that increases damage, just like Ziling. Ziling is a flammable bow user that can also stick to just using Rapid Volley, but Ziling has very bad passive. She has 2 passives related to Stealth. Enervate 3 for Endurance and Agility makes her a little of an interesting thing for some challenges, but on the same time she's not made for this. So what you can do is switch into this version of Labelle when you want to face some challenges. It's a little of a complication because none of the styles are perfectly made for this. I'll be explaining by going to Naorama SaGa website. And now we are on Naorama SaGa website. If you are thinking about level ups, there's not much difference between the two. The one that has the highest dexterity is the Christmas one. This one is more for damage. So when we look on the status differences, the Platinum style has lower dexterity but has higher agility and intelligence. So it's good for AoE attacks, for farming, but she lacks the damage because of no good passives for damage. So what you can do here if you have the Christmas style is to inherit one of these attacks from the Christmas style, like Mercy Bow. Mercy Bow increases dexterity up to 25% on max level, and it will do a very good damage. So you keep using this to get more dexterity to do very good damage, and you will also have a chance to inflict Enervate 3 for Endurance and Agility. I don't think it's still so much reliable, but it's one of the options that work, because if you just keep using Crystal Prism, it will not be so good, since it takes 4 turns for you to be able to use this, while the other attack only uses 2 turns. Rapid Volley will hardly be used in challenges, and she barely has damage to cover for this. She's more of an AoE farmer, but needs the strength of another character. She cannot clear waves by herself. You may need another or even 2 helpers to clear waves with Labelle if you are thinking about doing burst damage. Well, I still believe this is a solid style because of the 2 Enervates being easy to use, Rapid Volley, but she lacks so much damage, and that does not really help her. The Song of Earth can be useful in some situations if people are still having trouble with Hidden Dojo, or just some of the Spiral Tower levels where you can inflict confusion. And in my opinion, she deserves a 7.5 out of 10, or a S grade out of triple S grades. Song of Earth and Crystal Prism are still good attacks, but she has some problem with cycling, needing another style to perform well in challenges, so that's the reason why the grade was not so high. I still believe it's a solid style, either way. So next we have S Flynn, and we don't talk too much about S Flynn. All decks are very average. And then we have Johan, and Johan is a character that still don't have an SS style in the game. And this is only to allow the S style of Johan to use Punishing Palm. Johan is just a cheap budget style to inflict submission in the game. It's one of the easiest one that you can build to use submission when you're starting the game, but he does not have any future prospect. So, now we need to talk about the last thing. Is this banner worth summoning for? Well, no. And why is it not worth summoning for? There's only one paid gem discount here that guarantees an SS, but this SS can be any of these characters. You have 20% chances of getting Gustave, or 20% chances of getting Labelle. But after that, you will not have any chance of getting any feature style. You have 60% chances of getting very bad styles. It's a very huge bet in doing this. You also be getting some book number treats unless you are fine with spending on the game. I will not recommend you doing so. There are no discount on medals or step up pools, so this makes this banner not so desirable. I believe it's okay, like I said, if you have some other slash damage dealers, to skip this and maybe get this Gustave in the future. So please subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the like button and the bell so you can receive our content all the time. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by using the links on the description. There's also a link to our Score channel where we talk about this game every day. A lot of good people there to talk. So, we see each other on the next video. Bye.